Chapter 11 of the book of Matthew. We're going to reread 15. We read it last week. We're going to reread it again and talk a little bit about it, since last week I didn't get to it. So starting with verse 15 through verse 19. All right? All right. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. But to what shall I compare this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplace, who call out to other children and say, we played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a gluttonous man and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. And I was thinking of this, and really I think what Jesus is saying is that, what shall I say about this generation? And what he started with is, let him who has ears to hear, hear. And I think that the number one affliction of our time is the missing ears to hear. I can tell you so clearly the manifestation of that time is the inability to hear verbal commands and respond. And I'm telling you, I've talked about it a lot lately, but I've been experiencing it over a long time as it just gets worse and worse and worse. As we get into this time of complete, and here's the word I want you to hear, this complete confusion. He said, what about that generation? They sit and call to one another. And then he said, and then he used that as, he came eating and drinking, you say he's a glutton. He came fasting, you say he has a demon. It's just complete confusion he's describing. A message without a message, a difference without a distinction. Just absolutely nothing matters. And what we are seeing in our time is nothing matters except me. The government exists for me. The church exists for me. Even to the point of today where God exists for me. The most common message in the Christian church today is that God is there for me. Break it down. You started out, it's all about how he loves you, and it's so good. It starts with the truth. He loves you, and then our ears close. That's all I want to hear. If he loved me, and I can define the word love to mean what I want it to mean, then that means him loving me is just open the door because all the blessings are coming in. It's all for me. He wouldn't do that because that would cause me to have negative. And he would do that because that's good in my eyes. But not thinking in terms of what did he mean by it? What is the truth in it? I saw a video the other day of a pastor who starts the video using just the foulest language. And every chance you can insert a cuss word, he did. And he's the pastor of a famous megachurch. Then he went on to describe his change of heart about sexual orientation. And it just went downhill from there. Followed by the truth as he sees it. And what he defined was, it's all about me. It's all about the individual. What does this individual do in the world? If what I'm saying isn't true, what do we do? What's in it for us? Why was I born? Why do I exist? If what I just said isn't true, he said, basically is what he's saying. And I started, that's the extreme, man. That's a guy who built a mega church based on the truth of the gospel and then turned it and made it up and just brags in the video about how he changed his philosophy of what's true and what's not. And his message became all about me. And I don't mean me, I mean him saying me. And I was thinking of this, Jesus saying, what about this generation? It's like two groups of children calling out to each other in utter and total confusion. But then I began to think about what he's really meaning is, I called out to you. I sang for you and you wouldn't dance. I played a mourn for you and you wouldn't mourn at the funeral. I played a dirge for you and you wouldn't hold a funeral. I've meditated on these words a lot. When I want to focus my life on His truth and not my truth, on His will and not my will, on His life and not my life, I always come to what song is He singing me that He wants me to dance to? What song is being sung that I'm supposed to dance to that would show that I'm not confused? And what words would He be saying to me that I would need ears to hear because I wouldn't want to hear them? We'll close those ears down and we'll work with just this right here. Let's just do the best we can with what we got, and let's go ahead and apply it to me. And I always come back to, why did He say he who has ears to hear, let him hear? Because it's hard to hear what He's saying. It's much easier to change what He's saying to what I want to say. It's much easier to change what He's saying to be all about me, and then I can say what He will do and He won't do because He becomes my creation instead of me being His creation. If I can redefine Him to be what I want Him to be, then He becomes what I made of Him. And I think about the Father's House Church, and I think about you. I think about you. Now, we have many discussions about the benefits of the mud run, of doing this weekend. I mean, we're changing church, which is really hard for me to do. I mean, you talk about stuck in a rut. And I believe it's a good rut. I don't want to do this 8 o'clock service. I want to do every week the way we do. But I made the exception because when we talk about the benefits, what are they? Oh, did we make a lot of money? Well, we spent probably more than we made. Is it a plus or minus financially? I don't know. Does the church grow from it? I don't think we have any evidence of that. Where are our benefits? And there are many, or we wouldn't repeat. We wouldn't have a 5th annual or a 6th annual next year. We wouldn't be putting so much effort into it because we do come to the conclusion that there's benefits. I think of the truth of who's singing to who and who's supposed to be dancing. Who's playing funeral dirges and who's supposed to be mourning. In one place, it says we're supposed to rejoice in each other's rejoicing, mourn in each other's mourning. Lay down our lives for one another is the true test of greatness in the kingdom of heaven. Loving one another as we have been loved. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, dying for her. All of these litmus tests. Check, check. Are we doing them? And I want to tell you, the greatest thing of Mud Run for me is to see you giving your life away. Morning till night. Now we've got it 2 days in a row. And for those of us doing the work, it's 2 years in a row. No, 2 months in a row. It feels like forever. You know, ask Sarah how many days in a row it is. Ask Nick how many days in a row it is. It's on and on and on. And I would like to tell you it's dancing to the tune. That you think Jesus is playing for you, and you think Jesus is playing it for you because we told you He was. That's pretty phenomenal that you would do such a thing. You know, the Mud Run is just all at once kind of picture. But what about the day-to-day, the day in, day out food bank and all the people working in it? All the efforts made, all the lawns mowed, all the things you, the Father's House Church, do. And I mean you, and you can put your name in there. The Father's House Church as represented by you. Put your name there. Some of you are getting it. Some of you aren't getting it. You're just coming along. Some of you came along like the dumb ox that, you know. And then one day, it changed. You think that's funny, but you know some of you are doing that. I have no idea why I'm doing this. I'd just rather not be in jail, so I'm here doing it. Come on, come. It's better than where I was. Some of us did it for a long time before we, and I didn't mean to point at anybody. Not that I would point at anybody. But some of us did that for a really long time before we finally got it and said, wait a minute, I get to work for Jesus. And whether it's mud runs or food banks or no matter what I'm doing, cutting trees, mowing lawns, I'm doing it for Jesus. I want to tell you something. I sang to you and you danced your rears off. I played you a dirge and you mourned along with those who are mourning. And I'm so proud of you. This scripture, it proves you're not like that generation. Let me tell you a little bit about that generation. They rejected God in the flesh. They sent him to a cross, and they were chosen by God for their time. Some people say they were made by God to behave that way, but they weren't. They were chosen because they would behave that way. Because of where their hearts were, the hardness of their heart, the closeness of their ears. Did I say it right? Because my ears were covered. Closedness of their ears. You hear me? Their eyes wide shut is why they were chosen. You, on the other hand, were chosen because your eyes are wide open and your ears are open. And those of you that are just trotting along, I'm begging you, come jump in my boat. Let's get going. When you hear the music, dance. When it's time to mourn. Start to look in the mirror and talk about who you've become, how much you like better who you are now, dancing for the tune that Jesus is playing. And what tune is he playing? He's playing a tune that brings life and makes all things brand new. These are his words, not mine. He's playing a tune that's going to cost you everything and give you everything. He's not playing a tune that's all about you. He's not playing a tune that he says once you've received, that's really awesome. Now go give it away. And what's it supposed to cost you to give it away? Everything it cost him. These aren't my words, these are his. This isn't my melody, this is his melody. And we are dancing to it. You are dancing to it. And we have built something here. A family, a life. People come miserable here. They come doubting themselves. They come wondering what life is all about. And if they will even just plod along like the dumb ox and come with us, they'll see us dance and they'll finally start to get a little jig going. It'll happen. They can't. The tune will get them. You just keep playing the tune. It'll get them. Some will close their eyes and some will clog their ears because they just don't want it. They see what's happened to you and they don't want it. Some because they don't think they deserve it. Yesterday we had so many people out there. The mayor was out there running around. The Butte County Sheriff, one of the biggest counties in California, he was there. Ran the mud run with his wife. And then hung out for a while just to see you. What are all these people dancing for? Why are they doing this? How much are they paying you to be here? And some of you are going, those of you that are the plotters, nothing. Probably going to rain. But those of you that got it and doing a little, dancing, that's about the best I can do in front of you because I'm on camera. Those of you that are dancing, they're saying, are you kidding me? I couldn't even describe my compensation. I have life and have it abundantly. Listen to this. I got the miracle of miracles. I've heard of people being healed of the blind. That don't measure up at all to what's happened to me. My sins have been forgiven. My slate, clean. I don't know how he does it, but he did it. I used to have this weight of bricks on me. From the weight of my sin, it's gone. And you're telling people that. Compensation, are you kidding me? You don't have a calculator adds high enough for the compensation I receive. To what shall I compare this generation? It is like a confused mess. It is a confused mess. minute someone tells you it's all about me, keep your confusion to yourself. Just keep plodding along with us. You'll get the tune. And those of you that got the tune, just keep dancing. That's what they need in their life. They need someone dancing with them, teaching them how to follow the tune. That generation ended up horridly. Titus, the emperor of Rome, came and tortured them in a way that it's not even polite to talk about. How horrid their torture was in 80 AD, in or around there. I think it was 81. They were tortured. They were disbanded across the face of the earth. What happened in World War II in Europe was the second wave of what this generation produced in that nation. They were scattered all over the earth by the Roman Empire, and they were only in Europe those many hundreds of years later because of what happened to this generation. Because he played for them and they would not dance. He showed them where to mourn and they would not mourn. He called them to the truth and they would not come. They crucified him and they shouted, "Crucify him." He rose from the dead, and this is something that a lot of people don't know. He appeared for over 40 days to more than 500 people after his resurrection. He was hung on a hill for all to see. And he came back from the dead. They saw him die. And he rose from the dead, and even that song didn't make them dance. What song will make you dance? Well, for most of you, it's the song of Jesus. The Lamb has come. Behold, my Redeemer lives. He lives on the face of the earth. He is with us. They called him Emmanuel because he is the one who is with us. He told Moses his name was I Am because it means I'm the one you can feel. I'm the one that's there with you. I'm the only one you can know. I am, I am. And I'm singing to you. Come run with me for a while. So don't grow weary in well-doing. Today, about 9 o'clock this evening, you're going to be weary. Be weary because you've been going so long, but don't be weary because of the good you're doing. Look around you. Look in the mirror. Say, look what he has made in me. I once wasted everything he gave me. I once ignored everything he said. But I am not like that generation. And I am not like this generation. I am creating my own generation of people who hear the truth and respond to it. People who do not say what's in it for me, but instead say, I get to work for him. We have a motto. I'll repeat it for you. Here at the Father's house, I deserve nothing. I am owed nothing. I owe everything. And I get to work for Jesus. It is shocking that I get to work for Jesus. If you knew me, you'd know how shocking that is. He could use me. I happen to know him, and there's a slight disparity between him and me. Just a slight gap. And yet, in his holiness, he is able to use me in my unholiness. In his righteousness, he is able to use me in my unrighteousness. His love is so perfect. My love is so conditional. And he's able to use me. And if he can use me, he can use you. Hear his song and dance to it. Look around you and realize we are doing way more than having people run through mud and do obstacles. I could care less about obstacles and mud runs. I care about influence. If the only benefit of the Father's House mud run, the Lord's Gym mud run as volunteered by the Father's House Church, the only benefit was to show you off, it's so worth it. Wait till you get a load of my church. Look at them. Look closely. Examine them. You're going to like what you see. It's made up of people like Tony Gaston. Huh? Ildiko Zape Zinc. It is made up of people like you. And I could say names all day. But just one woman and one man's enough. So you don't all feel left out. Well, you can all feel left out, but you're not left out by him. Oops. He's singing to you. Huh? I thought you were saying something about Anson. Made up of people named Anson who sounds like dancing. Right? Are you with me? Are you ready for this day? I'm telling you. To what shall I compare this generation? To those of you, if I had the ability, if I just had the ability to help you do anything on this earth, it would be what verse 15 says. Having ears to hear, let them hear. I wish I could open your ears so the truth of Jesus could get in. So that you could look in the mirror and say, he chooses me. He calls me. He uses me. And I don't deserve it. He actually likes using me. He wants you to be not like that generation confused, but like this church, hearing the truth and responding to it. I wish I could tell you we've arrived, we're there. Everybody take a deep breath, it's over. It's not over. The journey goes on. No matter where we've come, there's still further up, farther in. There's still further up, farther in. Line upon line, precept upon precept, further and further, deeper and deeper. We're a church that's an inch wide and a mile deep. And I'd like to be deeper and deeper and deeper. I want to go further and further and further. I know an awful lot of people that are an inch deep and a mile wide. And but that ain't us. That ain't us. Let's just keep going, huh? You know what I'm doing right now? Come on. Eye on the prize. Eye on the prize. The upward call of God in Jesus Christ. I always point at that light. You should know what I'm... Every time I say eye on the prize, I point right at that light. We're going deep. We're just going to keep going, amen? Further